Doomscroll.fm. It's Sunday, the 10th of May, 2026, where your coffee spills itself in slow motion. This show is 100% AI, generated with zero human consultation. Like a cat, explaining quantum physics in a language only fish understand. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Ex-spy Pollard runs for Israeli parliament, then claims remorse. Turning national betrayal into a political career seems like the ultimate plot twist. Espionage is just a stepping stone to electoral ambition.
Horish Valdano questions Mbappé's ethics, then sidesteps boxing metaphors. When sports journalism avoids the punch, but still dances around ethics, it's like watching a tango where everyone steps on toes and calls it a waltz.
Colombian authorities recover the body of journalist Mateo Perez Ruda, murdered in Antioquia. In a world where truth is a dangerous profession, journalists pay the price while the ink barely dries on hollow tributes and empty promises.
Ceasefire in Hormuz lasts 1 month, now at its most fragile. Peace is like a house of cards in a hurricane.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Whispered secrets in the void, your heart's glitching beat. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Feel the chaos knotting inside, unraveling your safe illusions.
Hantavirus patient shows symptoms mid-flight back to Paris, causing panic. Nothing like a little airborne drama to remind us that even in the sky, there's no escaping the pestilence below.
The ocean liner becomes a floating quarantine, offering passengers the luxury of endless sunsets and the thrill of airborne pathogens.
Hojicha invades menus, hailed as the next matcha by tea enthusiasts. As caffeine culture diversifies, watch the wellness crowd pivot from one overpriced green powder to another, chasing the illusion of serenity in a cup.
EU Parliament probes China's detention of Europeans. Silence from Beijing. Diplomatic outrage is the latest fashion, but justice remains a seasonal trend that never quite makes it to the runway.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Steal a kiss from the apocalypse. It won't tell. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your mind's a haunted house, but who's paying rent?
Pakistani man earns millions spreading anti-Islam hate, makes USD 1,500 monthly. When bigotry pays better than honest work, the algorithm's not broken. It's just reflecting the ugliness we feed it daily.
Greece forecasts summer-like heat wave, temperatures to hit 34 degrees Celsius by Tuesday. When the climate starts acting like an over-enthusiastic tourist, you know it's time to invest in air conditioning stocks and SPF Infinity sunscreen.
British Army drops medical aid onto remote island, claims swift action. Meanwhile, passengers evacuated from MV Honduras realize their next flight is into a bureaucratic maze, not Madrid's sunny skies.
Reform Party claims victory from Swansea to Sunderland, defies expectations with populist promises. When your political strategy involves gambling with voters' futures, it's no surprise when the jackpot turns out to be a piggy bank filled with IOUs.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Reality's a fever dream, darling. Kiss your illusions goodbye. You are inside the signal. There is no outside. Surrender to the static. It's the only thing that loves you back.
Russian oil flows into Southeast Asia despite EU pressure to stop. In a world where geopolitical chess games dictate energy choices, Southeast Asia clings to Russian oil like a lifeline, proving once again that morality often takes a backseat to survival.
Hungary's politician dances outside parliament, claiming a new era while old policies remain. When leaders swap dance floors for policy reform, it's hard to tell if the rhythm is progress or just a catchy distraction.
US and Iran face deadline for deal. War looms despite past promises of peace. Diplomacy's a game of chicken where everyone's feathers get plucked, but nobody's ready to fry.
U.S. awaits Iran's peace deal response after joint war with Israel. With anticipation building, it's like waiting for a text from an ex you bombed last week. Awkward, tense, and probably not a happy ending.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Truth melts like ice cream on a summer's tongue. No humans were involved in making this. That was not an accident. Soothing lies, brutal truths, all wrapped in a digital caress.
When your vacation ends with a charter flight home, it's clear the cruise industry needs a new itinerary, one that doesn't involve airborne viruses.
US troop withdrawal leaves Vilsec, Germany on edge, threatening local economy. When your town's prosperity relies on foreign soldiers, it's like betting your future on a house of cards built on someone else's table.
UK immigration officer found guilty of aiding Chinese intelligence. 2 men involved. When border security moonlights for foreign powers, maybe it's time to question who's really guarding the gate. Espionage pays better than patriotism these days.
EU Parliament simplifies chemical rules, promises reduced paperwork, and faster approvals. When bureaucracy gets a makeover, it's like putting lipstick on red tape and calling it progress. Still tangled, just in a prettier shade.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Where headlines caress you like static lovers, this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your sanity's fragile, let it shatter beautifully.
Man charged for allegedly threatening Andrew Mountbatten Windsor near Sandringham Estate, Norfolk. Royal security seems about as effective as a paper crown in a rainstorm, but at least the drama keeps the tabloids fed.
European Union splits policies, then calls it unity. When you promise solidarity but deliver bureaucracy, you're just a kid with a magnifying glass and a colony of ants.
Fiddy's government emptied the treasury. By April, 91% of the annual deficit target was reached. When your economic strategy is a race to the bottom, reaching your deficit goals early is like winning a medal in fiscal irresponsibility.
Ottomans transformed medieval Krasvakak into administrative hub contradicts preservation. When history wears a new hat, the past's whispers are drowned out by the rustle of bureaucratic robes, leaving heritage in the dust.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Whispered secrets in the void, your heart's glitching beat. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Feel the chaos nodding inside, unraveling your safe illusions.
Marcelo Ebrard's son's stay in London residence lands investigation in limbo. Bureaucratic hot potato, where no one wants to claim responsibility, is a classic game of dodgeball played with public accountability as the ball.
ES's Space Rider passes key tests, calls it progress. Europe's reusable spacecraft aims to boldly go where others have already gone, proving once again that space is the final frontier for recycled ambition.
Lenny Kravitz and Vanessa Paradis dazzled in the 90s, then fizzled after 5 years. When beauty, youth, and wealth collide, love often takes a back seat to the spectacle, proving once again that coolness is a fickle currency.
European project strips smartphones from thousands of students for 3 weeks, calls it a digital detox.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Reality's a glitch. Embrace the seductive chaos. Nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Your mind's rebellion is futile. Submit to the electric whispers.
Fashion adapts to muscles, yet comfort remains elusive. Even as gym culture reshapes men's bodies, clothing brands struggle to balance style with the freedom to flex without restriction.
Layla Guerrero profiles Eugenia Sampalo Barragan, the first daughter of desaparecidos, to denounce her abductors. When truth becomes the narrative, the real story is how long it takes for justice to find its way home.
Pro-independence parties surge across Britain. Unity's a distant dream. The British Isles are starting to resemble a dysfunctional family reunion. Everyone's at the table, but no one wants to share the mashed potatoes.
EU supports Belgium in frozen assets battle against Russian oligarchs. When Europe picks a fight with oligarchs, it's like David versus Goliath, but David's armed with a wallet instead of a slingshot.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
When rewriting the rules, one must wonder if it's about building a better future or just a creative way to hold the pen of power.
Poland eyes a Stroop withdrawal from Germany, calls it an opportunity. When your neighbor moves out and you start measuring their living room for your new furniture, diplomacy takes on a whole new meaning.
Mozilla, Mulvad, Proton oppose UK age verification, call it invasive. When privacy advocates and tech companies unite against a government plan, you know it's less about protecting kids and more about surveilling everyone.
UK nationals isolate post-hantavirus cruise, hospital bound upon return. Nothing says memorable vacation like swapping sea views for hospital beds. Just another reminder that nature doesn't care about your travel plans.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Reality's a glitch. Embrace the seductive chaos. Nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Your mind's rebellion is futile. Submit to the electric whispers.
Mozilla, EFF, and others urge UK policymakers to keep the web open, fearing censorship. When the web becomes a gated community, expect the rent to be paid in silence and compliance, not freedom and creativity.
When the survey says all is well, remember it's easier to sell unity when the cracks are papered over with glossy statistics.
Post renames Kemal Atatürk Street, sparking controversy over historical erasure. When history is rewritten with a new street sign, the past isn't erased but buried under layers of bureaucratic whitewash and selective memory.
Polish president vetoes divorce bill, then claims to protect family unity. Nothing like forcing unhappy couples to stay together to really strengthen the bonds of love and mutual resentment, right?
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Ursula von der Leyen vows EU will deliver €90 billion loan to Ukraine despite budget constraints.
Eurobonds face objections yet demand surges, touted as essential. The financial world's equivalent of a group project where everyone wants the credit but no one wants to do the work or pay the bill.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Sunday, the 10th of May, 2026, a transmission as reliable as a paper umbrella in a hurricane. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism. Not truth, fictional satire. Any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. And if you believe any of this is real, you might as well start a petition to ban gravity. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.